AI, we had 54 events out of the 120 had AI as a component.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
But 120 events had AI involved in them in terms of just because I feel like it's in every conversation.
It is.
It really is. It's an undertone of every conversation. Welcome to Symplicity Conversations, where we explore the people and ideas driving innovation, technology, business, and community across West Michigan. Today, I'm joined by Andria Romkema, Vice President of Communications at The Right Place. We're diving into this year's TechWeek Grand Rapids, which was amazing. The energy, the behind-the-scenes stories, and what it means for the future of our city and tech ecosystem. Let's first start with our Symplicity Insights. This is our famous quote of the day, and this one is an unknown quote. I always like unknown quotes. When women support each other, incredible things happen, and this is so true. This is my life. I love it. Make sure to subscribe to Symplicity Conversations so you never miss an episode featuring leaders that are shaping the future of business, tech, and community here in West Michigan. So, ladies, thank you so much for being here. Erin Stewart from Symplicity Communications. So happy to have you. You're uniquely diving into technology, customer experience, and automation. So I'm excited to kind of revamp Tech Week that happened in mid-September. And so, Andria, let's dive in with give a little history on Tech Week Grand Rapids and where did it start?
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me on, Catherine. Yeah. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here. Tech Week started about 4 years ago now, and it started as a pilot concept that we developed in about 7 weeks. And wow. It was a mad rush to launch that first Tech Week. But the results were completely unexpected. And we ended up having over 3,000 people come through to about 7 events that we had during the week. And we said, okay, the community wants this. Like
we hear you.
We got this. You want us to do this. So we went back, we thought more strategically about the event after that. And we kind of launched with a more intentional week. We pulled best practices from all of the big tech community-based events that you've heard of, right? South by Southwest, Denver Startup Week, LA Tech Week. And we kind of just shamelessly pulled some of those best practices that we saw.
Why reinvent the wheel, right?
Exactly. I'm like, if it's working in this community, I think it can work here, right? And we pulled some things to make it uniquely our own. Our conference here, I would say, well, it's more of an on-conference, but it is truly built by the community in a way that I don't see other tech events being driven so much by the community. We don't even choose an overall theme. It's really just tech and innovation, and the business community drives what topics that they want to have come forward during the week. And I think that makes it a very relevant and timely event. So we've seen rapid growth. We always try to make it so that it's very low barrier to entry to participate in Tech Week, whether you're a company hosting an event or a person attending. Most of the events are free, with the exception of our kickoff event, and there are all kinds of things. There's truly something for everyone at Tech Week. So we usually have about 15,000, 16,000 people coming out to Tech Week now, which makes us one of the largest in the country.
I think that's amazing. I remember last year, I remember it being about 70 events. So the first year was 7. The third year was 70.
First year was 7. Second year was 35. Third year was 70. And then this year was 120.
Isn't that amazing?
So it is. Thank you. I mean, it's not just me. It's truly, we had over 300 organizations that were participating in Tech Week this year.
We did.
Yes, you all were one of them, right?
Yeah.
I think that is why it's been so successful.
Yeah.
Like people vote with their feet and their time. And this is, they've been able to really engage. So yeah, over 300. And that's those companies that are hosting those events on a variety of different topics. They can choose their content, and that allows them to bring forward their expertise. So you can come hear from the experts in the format that works best. So we've been really happy with it. But so you all participated. How did your event go?
It was pretty amazing. I mean, we focused on data and analytics, and we brought one of our providers in, RingCentral, who's leading the UCaaS, CCaaS market. But I think just in our space, we had moved into our new space at 60 Monroe Center, which used to be a bank. And so I call it my own Downton Abbey. It's just this incredible space.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
And so we kind of were hoping for 30, 40 people. I think we had almost 70.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
In our office. And the energy was amazing, the topics, and we've kept the conversations going with people that attended our TechWeek event.
Yes.
And I just had coffee with someone yesterday that was there. And it's just that I think that's the special magic that we've created, because that Grand Rapids wants to generate. It's more than just a week.
Right.
It's like we've got all this other time. So let's talk a little bit about what were some of the highlight moments, standout moments for you?
Oh my goodness. So it's really, when I look at the week, it can be really hard to choose like what are the standout moments. I used to try to go to every event during Tech Week, and I can't do that. Can't do that anymore. Can't do that anymore. But a highlight for me, I mean, I guess this is a fairly obvious one, but the kickoff and seeing Steve Woz.
Oh my gosh.
That just to have the opportunity to meet somebody who was responsible for one of the greatest tech advancements in our lifetimes. And I still am in awe of that, and how down to earth and humble and brilliant he was.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. It's wonderful to see somebody like that and know, okay, they're just they're not just a regular person, but they're actually,
humble.
But they're humble.
I loved number one, how Randy let him just go. He did not try to steer anything. He'd throw a little something out once in a while, but otherwise he just let him be a storyteller.
Yeah.
That was amazing. But I also felt like, I mean, of this person, but I feel like as I watched him, I really started liking this person. Like, I love that he said that he, like the three of them, Steve, and he said, I shared my shares with the 8 people. The really, like, who does that? Who does that? Who says, all right, why should just the 3 core people that created Apple get money or accolades from it? He shared his piece of the pie. And that's when I started going, that's what we need more of. We need more people that are selfless and humble. And, he did create the greatest. I mean, I have many Apple products, that touch us all the time, right? So I think that was a standout moment for me when I felt like we brought the right person in with tech, but also at the right year. Like this year was important for that kickoff, because we were elevated so much as, like, you use the first few years to kind of get things like, and then that was the exclamation point.
I would also say it's really interesting hearing you talk about it that way. When you think about, technology, right? And the way that, again, your quote at the beginning, bringing people together, right? And so to have the tech community in a place where we get to see such an innovator and an entrepreneur and all the ways that a lot of us in that room would love to have in common with him. But at the same time, he's a human, and it drove a human connection.
Yeah.
So, no, using technology to drive human connections.
That's your thing,
right?
I think that's your statement. If I had to attach a
Yeah.
statement to you, Erin, using technology to drive human connection, that's
Exactly.
Erin.
And what a great example of doing that by putting Woz on the stage with all of these technologists who now know him as a human. And then one of my biggest takeaways from that speech was he said, AI really means actual intelligence.
I loved that.
Right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I use that so often now, but again, just
Yeah.
he really humanized what it looks like to be an innovator, and it can look different than maybe the ways that others have seen a technologist look and act. So that was great.
I think that one thing that I took out of that is we need to do more pranks. You know, like we need
he's
to
such
have
a
more
prankster.
fun.
Yeah.
We need to have more
Yeah.
fun. And isn't it appropriate that we've made lists this year of number one tech? You know,
Yes.
like I think so many things converged this year on how much more successful Tech Week was and how diverse. I don't think diverse is even the right word. Like all the different types of events that were happening, they look like, I love that there's no theme. I love it's just an unconference.
Yes.
The community driven portion.
Exactly. Because the community knows, right?
Right.
What's needed. One of, I hear comments here and there about Tech Week, and as I overhear things when I'm out and about.
Yeah.
And one of my favorites was somebody was saying like, oh my gosh. And they must have been from out of town. And they were like, there are all these events happening. I can't believe this energy. They're like, this feels like Chicago. Like I'm in a major metro right now. And I
Without
think
the traffic.
exactly. And yeah, you won't get lost in Grand Rapids. Like you will know other people in the industry. You can make your mark. And I think that's what's really special about a city that's mid-sized. But I felt like this year, and Steve really helped us with this too, the Woz. We sort of arrived as a tech community. I think we were building before, and we're still building, of course, but
Always.
I felt like we had arrived, and there was less like, oh, I didn't know that there was a growing tech cluster in Grand Rapids, or what is Tech Week? These are questions that I would get asked all the time of like, what's your tech sector even about here? Who's here? I'm not getting any of those questions this year. Like the perception has changed.
We are a tech hub.
Exactly.
We are. It's not want to be.
Yep.
That's how it started.
Yes.
We want to be a tech hub. We are.
Yes, we are. We have arrived. We're here. And I think it speaks to, Tech Week is 1 week, right? But like we were talking earlier, there are things going on all year around here in the tech industry. And the week reflects that, but it's not the only thing we're doing in tech.
Right.
There's a lot of other exciting things happening.
Were there any trends or topics that stood out to you during the week?
Well,
Besides
AI.
our data and analytics.
Oh, yes, I did, yeah. Which I heard wonderful things about. And actually, data and analytics is
It's a huge
very,
gap.
yes.
That's
yes.
what we're finding.
Yeah, people are very interested in that. AI, we had 54 events out of the 120 had AI as a component.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
But 120 events had AI involved in them in terms of just because I feel like it's in every conversation.
It is.
It really is. It's an undertone of every conversation.
Yes. So that continued to be a top topic. The year before, it was also the top one. We see a lot of topics around cybersecurity too, health sciences. One that emerged this year that I was really happy to see was sort of the convergence of tech and manufacturing and topics around that. We talk about our tech sector a lot, and sometimes the manufacturing sector can be left out in that, although we're one of the top manufacturing clusters in the U.S. By and large, we have over 2,500 manufacturers here. And you go out on a plant floor to one of our manufacturers, and that's some of the most high-tech operations that you will see. They're increasingly tech companies themselves. So we had one example is we had a workshop with GRCC, and they just had a wonderful idea to do this. They did a hands-on workshop at one of their labs about how to use AI in manufacturing. We had to turn people away. Yeah. There were so many people that came by, like beyond the registrations, and there just weren't enough computers, and there weren't enough chairs to bring in to sit on the laptop. So I think that really tapped into something too, that one thing I'm seeing that I would love for us to drive more next year is that we like to talk about opportunities, and at some point our community is asking us to drill down and be like, okay, how do I do this? What is it? Teach me how to do some of this in my own business. And I think that event being sold out, having to turn people away, really highlights that's something that people are looking for in our community is here's all the ideas. What's next? What do we do?
Yeah,
how does this impact?
I think the hands-on workshops that I went to were great. And not only because of the ability to get my hands in and try new things, but to meet new people, right?
Yes.
Like while we're going to these sessions and we're hearing speakers and we're learning to meet new people in our community, to then be able to have follow-up coffee with and exchange ideas and network and introduce each other to important people is one of the best things about that week. So I think personally, that's something I'm looking forward to next year is how we can incorporate some hands-on workshops, some brainstorming, some opportunities for us not to just share information, but provide a flat platform for people to share as well would be really helpful.
I think that's so true because growing your network is crucial. Like we've been talking a lot about making sure younger listeners understand how you have to grow you could get a future job because of somebody in your network, right? I think what was interesting, I didn't get to go to this event. I think you went, Erin. I think the creativity around the events, like the Lego event where you build.
That crow. Really enjoyed that one. Yes, it was great.
I think that is an opportunity going forward of people to think outside the box, to demonstrate, how to incorporate, but also, I've been for years trying to have people understand that technology is a revenue producer. It's not just an expense, on financial reports. We need to leverage it to help. And every company is a technology company.
Yes.
Every company. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, you are a technology company. And that's kind of that underlying theme that I hope starts prevailing is that C-levels in these companies start thinking about, okay, I'm a technology company. I may be a hospital, but I'm a technology company. I may be a manufacturer, but I'm a technology company, because I think that that's how we really elevate and go forward and start highlighting.
And I think where we see that in practice today is where organizations are starting to think through at the board level, how are we going to staff our organization using the right amounts of human and AI? Mm-hmm. It's no longer about how to build an organization with the right people. It's how to build the right organization with the right people, supported with the right technology at the right time, right? Yeah. And getting that orchestration of all of that in a measured way is where things really start to make a difference.
Yeah. I think we're seeing that play out in real time right
Jinx,
now.
Double jinx.
Yeah, double jinx. I mean, this is part of my role. Actually, the main part of my role now. TechWeek is like its own full-time job, I would say. But so I lead business development at the Right Place, and we meet with over 600 companies a year. And this is one tech implementation, and going through these decisions is one of the main challenges that our companies are facing. And I think now the talent landscape is changing, and now it's a little bit different for every industry. But one of the things that we saw this year within our local economy was that a couple years ago, talent was the number one concern, whether it had been retention, recruitment, development.
Keeping people coming back to West Michigan.
Yes, exactly.
Keeping young talent.
Yes, and that's critical still. Yeah. And now talent is only the third top concern. It's still a top concern, of course, but but it's third of the way down, and the top is sales. And I think that shows just a little bit of a change in our market. And actually, when companies used to be having major recruitment challenges. Only 25% of our companies this past month said they were having any recruitment challenges at all, which is wild because usually it's flipping. It's like 75% of companies are having recruitment challenges. So that too, to go back to one of your earlier points, Catherine, when we think about advice that we're giving to the next generation and those in entry-level careers, what I always say is show up. Like that's a first step. Like just come to something like TechWeek.
Go to events.
Yes.
Start meeting people. Start getting connected. Back to that network, right? But also like hear what's happening. It's really important.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a student and you come out to a TechWeek event, like people are going to start to recognize you if you come to several.
Absolutely.
And I saw actually kudos to some GVSU professors. I need to find out who they are, but they actually assigned extra credit if their students came out and attended TechWeek. And I thought that was a great idea. And I saw and I heard of students doing this, coming out and being like, hey, can I take a photo with you and post it to my LinkedIn so that my professor knows I came here? And I'm like, yes,
please.
That's amazing, right?
We actually hired an intern because of her networking and coming to some events that we hosted, and we got to know her. And she's been amazing, and it will turn into a full-time position for her. So, and it's simply because she showed up.
Yeah.
So you do not know what will happen. So I think that's the exciting part about that is if you're in college, and there's some other organizations that I'm involved in, like in Forum, they have a specific college level program where you can get connected and learn, because people get scared to do that. They're not sure. What do I do when I don't know what to ask? Well, use ChatGPT to give you some questions that you can ask if you're in a situation. It'll give you great stuff. But then show up and, meet somebody and then, talk to them and grab coffee and just start learning. A lot of us love helping younger people learn how to navigate.
Yeah, that reminds me, Catherine, of I used to coach a lot of people through like speaking engagements, and I always would tell them, I'm like, you have to remember that the majority of the people in the audience want you to do well. Like they want to hear from you. They're here. They want you to do really well. They're on your side. In the same way that if you're a student coming into a large networking event, I know that can be intimidating. That can be extremely intimidating. But I would say most of us, we want to meet you and talk with you and help you if we can, especially in a community like Grand Rapids that's highly collaborative. I love talking to students, right? And it's actually once you get over that initial, like walking through the door, I think you'll find a very welcoming community here.
Cool. Yeah, very much so. One thing I'd love to see at TechWeek, and this is, off the cuff, but I'd love to see some type of recognition, like some kind of awards during TechWeek, because I think it's all about content, right? Video, social media content, how it can help businesses. So if we could incorporate some kind of accolades that then people could have a picture or have a video, and then that continues long after TechWeek is done, and they can use it for just saying, hey, I'm this, and then that could be the difference when they're trying to make a sale and going, oh, I've got this thing that we received.
Recognition.
Yeah. I know that we've been involved with the Michigan Celebrates Small Business, which is part of MEDC and Edward Lowe Foundation and a couple of other organizations. And we've gotten a couple of awards from them. This year we received the Woman Business Enterprise Award.
Oh, congratulations.
And so again, it happened in April, but we still kind of sprinkle out in our social media. So
it's validating, right?
In Tech Week, as we start growing, like acknowledging some of these people that are doing amazing things to help keep shine that light, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, that is. I love that idea. That's one that we've tossed around too. Maybe we can find some people who want to start pulling that together.
I think you can find some. We've got this amazing art prize event. Look at how that started. And we hosted, with our cool venue, we hosted an artist, Ted, who was amazing. But it's that, audience, like you can vote for the best tech event, or you can have judges that go around and vote. But I think it's bringing a really cool aspect to Tech Week that could go somewhere. So we'll see. We'll see.
It. Okay, put a pin in that. Let's talk about it for next year. Yeah.
So the Right Place just moved into a new location.
We did. We squeaked in right before Tech Week too. That was a little. I was like, oh, I hope we are in before Tech Week, because this might put the team over the edge if we're not.
Exactly. Yeah, we kind of do that, don't we? But what are some of the exciting new business development or projects that are happening in Grand Rapids now?
Oh yeah. So there's quite a bit. And I will say, I am so fortunate to be able to live and work in a community that is growing and having success, because you travel around and it's not this way everywhere. Some things that I would say are just I'm really, really looking forward to and are changing like the landscape of our city. Well, of course, the Amphitheater, seeing that, which we can see from our new office. I love it. So we can see that construction happening, the soccer stadium. These are amenities that when you reflect on it, you're like, I'm so grateful that we're able to have these in a mid-sized city. Like this amphitheater is world class, and we're going to have it here in Grand Rapids, right?
Look at how the Van Andel Arena, when that was created, the impact and the revenue that it's brought into the city by bringing some of those shows that come. Good
Gosh. Yes. So that fun fact, that's one of my favorite things about our new office is that we have a view of the entry of the Van Andel Arena. And I love to try to guess who's playing based on how people are dressed lined up outside of the arena. It is amazing. But
That'd be fun.
Yeah. And it changes the energy.
Yeah.
Like you can feel it when somebody's in town for a concert, a big concert like that, seeing all the people that are coming through downtown. Downtown is always quite alive, but when there's a concert, it just feels next level. So those are some of the really exciting things. I also see exciting opportunity more on the business side with some of our projects that we're working on. We have, Microsoft is considering the area for data centers. It would be wonderful to fly that Microsoft flag here.
Exactly.
Again, more legitimization of our tech cluster. So that's really exciting to me. We also have a couple companies across different industries that are, and a lot in manufacturing, advanced manufacturing. And these are exciting to me because this is one of our most powerful economic drivers is that sector. And we have a lot of small to mid-sized manufacturers, and when they're growing, it's a really good sign for our economy because they're creating those jobs, high-quality jobs, good wages, good quality of life here in Grand Rapids, and that's what we really like to see. So it's a privilege to be able to help those companies as they grow here. Yeah,
exactly. And we often hear about Grand Rapids balancing growth and community values. So how do you see that playing out in practice?
Yeah. So, what I see is that Grand Rapids has so far avoided some of the like unrestricted growth challenges that other cities have experienced, that all of a sudden, it's going to take, it used to take you 15 minutes to get to the airport. Now it takes you 3 hours,
Let's
whatever it
not
may
even
be.
put that out
Yeah,
into
yeah.
the universe. Let's not.
You can cut this part out of the podcast if you want. Yeah. But I think we've had, managed steady growth that has really benefited us. And we're very fortunate, especially as a city in the Midwest, to be able to have that growth here. I think our city is also our region is extremely collaborative. I'm not from here. And that's one of the things that I noticed when I first came here. We really talk the talk and walk the walk, whereas other communities talk the talk.
Yeah.
And so I think that helps as we're having these conversations, and people invest in the community, right? And I think that helps us grow as well. Sometimes there can be pushback on economic growth, most certainly, but I would say I think the challenges that come with growth are much better challenges to work on than the ones that come with stagnation and decline.
Yeah.
So that's something that we're working through as we try to keep intentionally, strategically growing our community.
Well, Erin and I bring a lot of service providers for our business in. We just had dinner with a couple last night, and they're just consistently, they're surprised at Grand Rapids of, wow, this is a great city. And I agree. I live downtown. My office is downtown. I love that walkability. But I think that there's so many insights from, making sure that we're bringing people in and saying, check this out. It's such a positive community. We're really focused on growth, and we've got talent, treasure, and time, each one of us. And I think that's one of the things that I see about Grand Rapids is you might have some big names with big names on buildings, but that give a lot. Yeah. But you also have at all levels. People might not have treasure to give, but they might have a talent or time. And I think that's the different feel.
It is. Yeah. They do so freely.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. You mentioned you're not from here, and I kind of chuckled. I'm not either. And that's I moved here 8 years ago. Can't believe it's been that long. But I definitely I came from Indianapolis, large big city in the Midwest, and I still really enjoy going to Indianapolis when I visit. But what I tell people, I feel like the difference for Grand Rapids is that I still get that big city feel, but the intentionality of the events and the things that I go to is next level. So the events may not be as grand as the NCAA championship, but the events that we do have are very intentional to the audience that they're catered to. And they are so valuable with the network that shows up and then what happens afterwards. And I think that's the difference between, being in a bigger city is that you may have opportunities for these bigger events, but the connection that you'll walk away from it with and the ability to do something with it is so much less because it has to hit a broader audience. So I've really enjoyed being able to, in the past 6 months of working at Symplicity offices, coming in from Holland and driving into Grand Rapids more and getting to know the city. And I'm falling in love with Grand Rapids all over again by being able to get out into the community and go to these events that I used to have to travel across the country to have those types of conversations with technologists. Yeah. So it's really eye-opening that in the local community, we can have so much intention to be in the right room with the right people and figure out how we can affect change in our community at a whole nother level. And I think, business leaders like Catherine opening the office to opportunities to impact not only the professional world we live in, but personal as well. And, finding ways to impact the community with the business is something that I find almost every business owner I've met here has passion towards. So it's something that can't go without saying.
You're exactly right. I have found that most of our businesses do this, and it's a community expectation.
Yeah.
Correct.
in many ways.
Correct.
It's a value.
It's definitely a value, and it shows. It really shows. And one of the things I tell people too who are considering moving here is, I'm like, there are big city amenities. Like, we have those.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you can drive 30 minutes and be in a very big city like place. Like, you can be at Lake Michigan.
I go at home and go to the beach and put my feet in my sand and walk in the fall and the beautiful leaves. And it's a completely different life than when I'm here.
Yeah, it's so accessible that you can just drive and go mountain biking, or you can come have a concert downtown. And then layered over all of that is that you can make an impact.
That's right.
In the community. We're a region of 1.5 million, right? So it's not small, but you can make an impact in this community, and you can easily engage. And I think people quickly, when they move here, if that's one of their goals, they see that right away, because they see how open the business community is and how inviting it can be. And it makes an impact really fast.
It really does. And for business owners and entrepreneurs that are listening, as we think about the growth of Tech Week over these 4 years, what lessons or insights do you think they can apply to their own growth strategies?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Maybe don't grow as fast and as crazy as Tech Week grew. Yeah. I found myself saying this to the team on repeat every year. I'm like, okay, but at least let's think through this. At least it's a growth challenge and not a different kind of challenge.
Right.
Like, these are all good problems to have because we're growing.
There's still problems.
Yes, there's still problems. And, I wish I had some advice on that, but I think it's just to be in a constant. I think really it's about continuous learning.
Yeah,
and
intentionality.
Yes,
I love that word that you used, Erin.
Yes, that we always are going to be having to do that, and you think if you're in growth stage. You think, okay, we've got this, we've planned it out, we know these problems, and we have a plan of attack, how to manage that. And inevitably, something else happens too. So to me, it's always continue to be investing in yourself as a leader and a business owner, and to make that time. Sometimes you have to be extremely intentional about that, right? Or else you get lost in
the connections. We have a technology council that meets throughout the year, and you can meet other business owners. But I think it's making sure that there's a plan, and that if you may not have the answers, you may not even have the questions, but go talk to somebody and say, what are you doing? How are you approaching it? That may give you some questions to start your plan. But I think do something.
Yeah.
Right.
The power of peer-to-peer learning is just, you can't let that pass you by. I think most problems, somebody has dealt with them before, and probably somebody in your industry, in this community has dealt with it before. And even if they don't necessarily have the solution, I'm sure they're happy to talk you through what didn't work, so that you can avoid that. Being able to have that trusted, private, dialogue with other people who have stood in your shoes, I think is invaluable, right?
It is. People pay good money for that.
Yes.
And you kind of give it away for free when you're involved in.
I would just add, I think one thing is, before going in and maybe asking those questions and finding those people, taking a look at yourself to understand what your strengths and weaknesses are, so that as you're entering these conversations and you're picking your agenda for the conference, I'm going to go to the places where I want to learn and grow and geek out about data like I like to do. But I'm also going to go to some of the places where I'm a little weaker and I don't know as much about that topic.
So uncomfortable zone.
Right. Get uncomfortable. And then I'm going to meet a few people in that room, and I'm going to get their business card. And now they are my experts that I'm going to call when I'm in a situation, right? And so creating that, personal board of directors, your Rolodex of cards that you call when you need someone, because you don't have to be the expert in everything, but you have to be a really good listener.
You got to know who to call.
And you got to know who to call.
Yeah.
Right. And so
Yeah.
knowing ahead of time and planning your week for Tech Week of leaning into your strengths,
Yeah.
getting uncomfortable in your weaknesses, and getting the cards of the people who you're going to call when you need help.
Yeah, knowing what those weaknesses are, and there are diminishing returns, right? When you try to overcome those weaknesses, like lean into the strengths and build out your network with people who have different skills than you, and I think that's great advice, because that's how they're going to point out blind spots for you too.
Exactly.
And how to overcome some of that. Got to have it.
Yeah, exactly. What advice would you give to companies considering launching or expanding in Grand Rapids?
Oh, yeah.
Bring it on.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
One,
Come on
great
over.
decision. Great choice. We're so glad you're here.
That's right.
And so actually my advice to them is similar to my advice that I give to people who are looking to enter the workforce. Actually, you're going to see a theme here. I always recommend, one, if they're a company that's, let's say they're totally new to the area, because we work with a lot of companies who are looking to expand in Grand Rapids. They don't have a location here at all. Although the majority of our work is with companies who are already established here and looking to continue growing. But about 20% is with that attraction-based work. And one of our roles as the economic developer is we try to connect them in to the different resources and partners that they need, like as quickly as possible. And I recommend to people, gosh, I feel like I have this conversation actually at least a couple times a week with people that want to get more plugged in with the community. And I say, okay, you will be leagues ahead if you show up to this, participate in this. Here, depending on your industry, what are those associations that you can go be part of? Here are the events that everybody participates in. Here's where you're going to see your peers. Here's where you're going to see your clients and customers. And why don't come to this, and I'll see you there, and I'll introduce you to a couple people. And that's my first, it's not businessy per se, but I think when you're, and especially when you're looking at growing in Grand Rapids, we're a very collaborative community. That means we're also very relationship based. So having those strong relationships is really important. And you do want new companies especially to see the culture and the values of the community. And I think they do that by observing and being in the room with other business leaders here. So try to make that connection as fast as we possibly can.
Yeah, for sure. So as we think about Tech Week next year, because I know you're already having meetings and planning.
We are. We've been thinking about it since before this Tech Week started.
So anything you can share about anything for next year? I know we're thinking about our Tech Week for next year.
Yes. And so that's great advice to anybody listening who is like, gosh, we really should think about doing something in Tech Week. Don't think about it in July. It's too late. It's too late. Like start thinking about it now, actually, now and over the next couple of months, because applications will open in May as they typically do. And by then you really have to have your idea in its final form and to be actively planning it and making it real. Right. So think about it now. In terms of what to look forward to next year, I think, well, one, I would love to know what you all would like to see at Tech Week next year, because one of the biggest decisions we can make is that keynote speaker who ends up driving a lot of the conversation. And I'll tell you all, one of the things that we're looking at this year for that keynote speaker is, we've had a couple different personalities now come through. Most recently was, and he was, very much in the tech space. We're looking for somebody, I think, who can be a little more future looking in the tech space this year. So that's kind of what we're thinking about with the keynote speaker. Would love ideas or what people want to see. Okay, yes, we're going to talk. We're going to talk.
One of the things I'd love to see, Erin and I kind of debriefed after our Tech Week event and stuff. But I think Woz was amazing, and I think it's going to be so hard to have the next person be on that. But
everybody's already asking how we top it.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
But I'd love to see it bookended with a closing event, like a big speaker closing event that really ties it together. And it's hard because Confluence is on Saturday, which you don't want to exclude, but the real
Have
work
it end
week,
before it ends. Yeah.
But so I feel like it's in one way, you don't want it to feel like closing ceremonies and then we still have Confluence on Saturday.
Right.
But, it's hard because Tech Week is Monday through Friday of the work week, and then Confluence, which I think is so critical, and it brings all the younger elementary students together, and that's a really key thing that happens on Saturday. But I think that there's something to be said for having bookends of, and maybe you don't call it the closing ceremonies, but you kind of balance the kickoff with the wrap up, or something that really can kind of propel and be thinking. And maybe that's where you do the future. Like, let's be thinking about the future piece of it there. But I think there's so many cool things, whether it's awards, whether it's
that could be a spot
some
for the
kind
awards,
of honoring like. But one thing that just popped in my head that I hope people that don't see themselves as technology companies, that they hold technology events because they are technology companies. They should be. They should see themselves as that. So we have a lot of technology companies like Symplicity that are hosting events. But I think where we can go with this is companies just hosting an event because they can identify as a technology company.
Yes. And this year we saw an increase in that too, of companies who because the conversation used to be, I'm not a tech company. And it's like, well, okay, one, as Catherine has said, yes, you are, right? Everybody is. But this year, I think they saw a couple people do it the previous year that they're like, oh, that business isn't what I would call a tech company. But they were able to talk about their expertise, which is related to tech. Yep. And I think, especially if anybody is listening and is like, I can't host an event, I'm not a tech company.
You are.
And because you can host an event during Tech Week, right? And even if you don't host an event, because that can be a lot if you're first starting with Tech Week, be intentional about how you participate with Tech Week. Yeah. That was another comment I heard from people this year was, oh my gosh, I need to get more strategic about what events I attend and what events my team is attending and how we sort of divide and conquer this. Because
that's what we do.
And so you get it, you understand it. And they're like, oh, we have clients hosting events. I should be there, like recognizing them and participating. There's all sorts of different strategies that you can take with Tech Week, right? It doesn't have to be hosting an event. We would love you to, don't get me wrong. But you don't have to dive all the way in. And I love the idea of some sort of capstone towards the end. That is something that we're talking about for next year. We just have no idea what it's going to look like just yet, but more to come.
You've got people out here that can help.
Yes,
you do know that.
Yes.
This has been an amazing conversation. I love highlighting great things about Grand Rapids, and I'm so grateful that you were here. And Erin, thank you so much for being here.
Catherine, I was going to mention one thing I think that would be helpful too, maybe during Tech Week, is to no one's surprise in a lot of those these types of meetings. There's not a lot of rooms like this where it's three women sitting around the table.
Oh, yes.
So I would love for Tech Week next year to bring in some sort of, more of an experience where women can come in and talk about how we use technology. And it kind of resonated with what you were talking about. And every business can use technology. Where's the companies that are focused in beauty and involving in Tech Week? And there's so much technology in that space. And let's bring in, the important industries that are maybe more prominent where women are involved and highlight technology in the ways that they're using it in their jobs. Teachers, right? Bringing in some of these,
Nurses.
nurses,
to the
right,
gala.
women professions
Yes.
and highlighting how they're using technology to maybe inspire some of these women who are in college or the high school to pursue an education and career in technology as well. That would be my
Right.
feedback.
I mean, yeah, you need to be able to see yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
And
for
I think
sure.
we could do
In
a better
these
job at
seats, yeah.
spotlighting the women in our community who are doing that.
Yeah. Because we
totally
have
agree.
rock stars that are doing
There's
it.
lots
Yeah.
of rock
There
stars.
are,
Yeah.
There are.
and fun ones, right?
Yes.
That we can
Yes.
bring out some community.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, you're right. Like the permanent makeup and all these things that are out there. I can imagine some full sessions, sold out sessions for people coming to learn more about that.
And we see anytime we do a women focused event, it's always sold out.
Yeah, exactly. 87% of the buying decisions, right? We own it. But, thank you so much. I'm so excited about what's happening in Grand Rapids. Definitely feel like people should check it out and see some of the cool things that are happening here. And thanks for tuning in to Symplicity Conversations. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and visit thesimplepodcast.com for more inspiring conversations with leaders like Andria and Erin. Thank you guys so much for being here. Follow us on LinkedIn, subscribe on YouTube, and stay connected. See you next time.